Republic speaks to one of the most important legal luminaries in India, Mr. Fali Nariman, to get a sense of what's been happening in this entire thing. So do you think the opposition parties and the MPs who got the signatures were correct in getting those signatures? What do you feel about this, sir?
No, I have said this repeatedly. I think it is a disaster to start impeaching the Chief Justice or any judge of the Supreme Court even today. Because we've had the last experience with regard to a judge of the Supreme Court was the Ramaswamy incident. And that again didn't work too well because ultimately it failed. And it failed because, as Mr. Vajpayee said, then leader of the BJP who refused to sign the petition, he said, "Ye to murgi chor ki baat hai." That's what he said. At those allegations, which were about financial misdemeanors when Justice Ramaswamy was Chief Justice of Punjab. But today there's no question about any murgi chor or any such thing. Quite frankly, this is a petition which is rather a prayer to the Vice President, which lacks merit, lacks any substantial reason, sufficient reason, because you can't just go impeaching everybody just because you have one little thing there or one little thing here. It's a very serious matter which has to be looked upon very seriously. And I'm sure that the judges who ultimately look upon this rejection will look upon it seriously. They are bound to. But as to whether they have a right to go to the court, of course they have. Because
So do you think the Congress party now says they're going to move the court? Do you think that's legally tenable?
Yes, legally tenable in the sense that it's maintainable. It's not tenable. Maintainable because the function of the vice chairman, vice president, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha in the present case, is that of a statutory functionary. So that they would be able to say that the statutory functionary has failed in his duty. But I think the tests that are required are far more strict in the case of an impeachment, which affects the entire judiciary. And therefore, I'm sure that will be looked upon will dealt with by the persons concerned or the judges concerned who deal with it. But in my view, quite frankly, as I have said before, we have already brought down the judiciary from the top floor to the first floor to the ground floor and now to the basement. And there's no going further down. Because it's the only final interpreter of the Constitution. And if you destroy the Supreme Court or its Chief Justice for that matter on any ground which is just venal, nothing much, then I'm afraid you are doing an infinite harm to the Constitution itself. So I'm very, very upset with all this. And I don't think that it can be challenged, but I think that the challenge will not succeed.
Mr. Nariman, why do you think, with what ground do you think these political parties and this lobby is motivated to come in?
I don't know. I'm not a politician.
Do you think
I can't speculate. But it doesn't seem to have any bona fide ground. That's all.
Do you think it's because of the Babri case, the Loya case that's expected, the Babri case hearing that's expected on Friday as well?
Yeah, well, that may be a surmise. I don't know. Maybe. You better ask one of these people who have signed the letter to the Vice President.
Do you think it's a political gimmick, keeping in mind their political gains they are trying to look at? And how does it make you feel that the opposition and a motivated lobby in the Loya case, the Supreme Court came down so strongly on them? How do you feel when the Supreme Court's also explaining to them, don't put PILs before us that are here to malign the judiciary, so is to say, sir?
Well, that's a matter of comment. That judgment says something and you can comment on it, or other people can say that it's not a correct judgment, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm worried about is not any judgment. I'm not bothered whether the Loya case went one way or another. The important thing is that we must not denigrate the judiciary, and any frivolous impeachment application is, to my mind, denigrates the judiciary. And this is purely frivolous.
What about these political parties in this opposition move? They've all got together only for a motive to denigrate the judiciary, sir.
I don't know about their motive. I am not willing to comment. I'm only saying that I am very worried and upset that people who are lawyers also have signed this particular thing. It's very wrong. And the fact that the former Prime Minister didn't sign it, I think, is a very significant fact. And the fact that he was Prime Minister and therefore could not sign is totally absurd. There's no such thing. Of course he has to sign. If he's convinced that these allegations are very correct and the Chief Justice ought to be removed, well, he should have signed it. He hasn't signed it.